How big of a deal is the COVID vaccine? And you know, not to get into the medical part of it, but is this going to be an annual shot for millions of Americans, like forever?
I think that it is going to be an annual shot for the foreseeable future. I mean, I think the thing that we know right now is that immunity from the COVID vaccine and then also immunity from natural infection, they don't last forever. So I think an annual revaccination or some sort of schedule will be important over time. And then there are populations in the United States, either very young or very old, that I think, or immunocompromised, where they would benefit from an annual revaccination and probably see something very similar to flu roll out over time.
So could it be a situation, Louise, where literally we go to like Walgreens and we get a COVID vaccine shot and a flu vaccine shot, every November, something like that?
Yeah, I think we could see that. And I think a lot of the companies are doing trials where they show that it's safe to do both of them at the same time. And maybe over time, what some of these companies are thinking of anticipating doing is putting all of that together into one shot. Don't
So that's the franchise there. And listen, there's a lot of people out there that'll say that the whole thing is just a money-driven. I mean, don't go down the rabbit hole of Twitter. But how big of a revenue generator is the COVID vaccine? How big is it expected to be, Louise? How much money does Pfizer actually make on it?
Okay, so that's a harder onion to peel back. But right now, the Pfizer vaccine is partnered with BioNTech. So from a profit perspective, it is 50-50. But from an annual sales perspective going forward, this year, probably $36 billion. Next year, already contract for $31 billion, 31 billion of doses, meaning this year in 2022, last year, 36. And then going forward, I think it can sustain tens of billions of dollars of sales. And from a FactSet consensus perspective, people are looking at something for, vaccine to be about $8 billion of sales in 2026 or so. So I think there's a lot of upside to where street expectations are at for Pfizer's COVID franchise.
Wow. What about the antiviral? How much could that be worth? We don't hear a lot about it.
Not yet, but we will. So the antiviral, basically right now, I think there's over $7 billion of doses that are contracted. Not all of it is public, so this is sort of an estimate based on what we see publicly. Right now, FactSet consensus has it at $22 billion of sales out of a total of $100 billion of sales for Pfizer in 2022. So I think this could be a very big product as well. Something similar to what we see for Tamiflu and some of these other products. And also, because of its long shelf life, it actually could be stockpiled by governments. And I think we're going to see that over time.
And we forget, because we've been almost singularly focused on the pandemic for the last 2 years, for good reasons and other reasons. Louise, we forget there's a lot of other bad stuff out there. Obesity's up, diabetes is up, cancer rates are up, depression. I mean, there's going to be a lot of medical problems to come. What about non-COVID things for Pfizer, treatments for things like cancer? You could have millions of early deaths from cancer and diabetes alone. Do they have any franchises there?
Yeah, they have actually a lot there. And I think that's not being brought to the forefront because of the focus on the oral antiviral and the vaccine, and everything's just COVID right now. But they have an RSV vaccine, and that should be for adults and for infants. And what's really interesting is they've actually have a maternal vaccine. They have a company that they're about to acquire, Arena, that has a product, estrezimod, for ulcerative colitis and atopic dermatitis. They recently acquired a company, Trillium Therapeutics, for their anti-CD47 for solid tumors and heme malignancies. And this could be a good oncology backbone. We'll see what the data shows over time. They're working on a universal flu vaccine, and then they're probably going to expand their mRNA platform. They announced a couple of deals this year on that front that I think we'll see a lot from that coming in the future. Yeah.